Hello out there, it's Julie. Welcome in. Today, I am not going to be doing any of the videos that I discussed doing in my last video. Um, I'm just going to go over a couple of decks that I just got today and one that is also going to be leaving me. I will be doing my Oak, Ash, and Thorn review at some point, and I will be going over some tarot tips at another point, but I'm just not in the mood today. My head's just not there. So I'm doing this because I just got two of the last decks in that I will be getting in for a while. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have two more coming in, and then I have some Kickstarters. And outside of that, I'm done with purchasing decks because I have so many, even with my decluttering, that I really want to be able to connect with them and use them. I don't want them just to sit around and waste space. So with that said, the deck that I'm about to show you is in my deck of decks I want. It's in my pile of decks for decks that I wanted to use for this winter. Oh my gosh, it's too many words that are trying to come out of my mouth right now. Let's just go. Okay, so this is the Mind's Eye Tarot, and I had this in my pile of decks to use this winter. That is what I was trying to say. And so last night I was like, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to use it, and I did, and I do not like this deck. It's just not for me personally. I adore the artwork, but it feels like a deck that was created just for the sake of making a tarot deck. And that's not to knock the author. You know, there's a place for this, and there's people who love that kind of a deck. I'm just in a place right now where I want a deck that's chock full of symbolism, or you have the ability to read more into the deck than you would otherwise. And this is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith, and it just, I don't know, there's just this like lack of being able to differentiate between the characters. Like even when, let's see, I don't know if I can find the Three of Cups. Like even when the three people in the Three of Cups were together, well, if I come across it, I'll point it out. They all look like the same person. Oh, here we go. They all just look like the same person. Their faces are the same, and they all just look really unhappy. And this is a card that says the Three of Cups shows it's time for celebration and coming together, and they just don't look like they're ready to celebrate anything. They look really sad a little bit to me. So that's just kind of the feeling I got from the whole deck. Me personally, right? And again, that's the beauty of different tarot decks, is we all resonate with different ones. So I'm just going to show you real quick the images on here. And like I said, the artwork is spectacular. There is nothing wrong with the artwork. I love this art style. I'm a very busy artist when I draw, and I appreciate a good busy deck, but it's almost too busy for what it's trying to achieve. You lose a lot in the busyness, I think. And I don't necessarily think it's because of the busyness. I think it's because of a lack of contrast between certain parts. So you lose a little bit, you know? But I mean, it's beautiful. Like the Emperor card, that's a beautiful card. It's busy, but it's simplified. But to me, that doesn't really say Emperor to me. I don't know. And not all cards have to say Emperor, but that's what I mean. Like for me, this personally just feels like a deck that's created for the sake of creating a deck, and not much other thought went into it. And I'm not saying that's the case. I haven't read the book. I don't usually read books unless I connect deeply and thoroughly with a deck. And I have not with this, so I did not look at the guidebook yet, but I'm not keeping this deck because I know I'm not going to read with it at all. It's beautiful though. Lots of eyeballs. I know it's called the Mind's Eye, but there's just like eyeballs everywhere. Eyeballs in your hair. Eyeballs down below. Eyeballs, watch me grow. Sorry. Sorry. All right, let's see. Yeah, so that's about it. That's all I have to say on this deck. Unfortunately, not much else. So yeah, this one will be leaving my collection. My Bohemian Gothic finally came in. I've been wanting this deck for a long time. And as most people know, Baba Studio did a re-release of this deck, and I have been waiting for it. And I figured, look, my friend and I used to read, I've read all the Interview with the Vampire series. My friend and I used to love vampires back in high school, just vampire movies, the romance of the vampire. And if I was going to get any vampire-esque deck, this was the one. And unfortunately, I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about it. I don't know how I feel about it. You know, the Baba Studio makes a beautiful deck with the cold press technique and the way that the cards kind of have that sheen to them. They make a beautiful card. I just, and I've seen these cards. Like I've seen them. There's nothing new to me, you know, like I've seen them before, and some of them are really beautiful and really well done. And then every once in a while, I come across one like the Fool and the Tower specifically. Let's see if I can find it. This one just feels flat. And it's not reading as flat on camera actually as it is in person. They feel a little grainy and out of focus, and it just feels like in these edges. And listen, I'm a photographer, so I notice these things. I just don't feel a good job was done like cleaning up these edges. It doesn't look as well done as some of the other cards, like here specifically. And I've noticed that in a couple of places where I just don't like how the background interacts with the foreground. It doesn't feel cohesive to me. Yeah, so I have an issue with that. And unfortunately, and same thing here. Now here it works a little bit more with the Five of Wands. These feel more like ghosts, so I can kind of, you know, accept that. But even the background, like the foreground here is so sharp and the background is so out of focus, and then they seem like really kind of grainy. I don't know, it's just not working. I'm having an issue with it. Same thing here. It just feels too cut and paste, and I know it's not meant to feel cut and paste. I think it's supposed to feel more cohesive and together, and I'm just not feeling it. I'm really kind of disappointed with this deck, and and this one too seems very soft. I feel like this should be in focus and sharp, and it's not. I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. I might end up selling this. I just got it in, and I might already end up selling it because if somebody really wants it, I would rather somebody have it and use it than me just keep it for the sake of keeping it. Like this Nine of Swords works beautifully for me. There's clarity within all of these images here, and it works because it's clear. But some of them, it just looks like foggy, and they couldn't get a resolution that was good enough to use within the image. So they just used like whatever they found. And that's where I'm having issue. It's like this, the resolutions are off, and it's just not working. It's just not working. It actually feels quite amateur in some ways. And listen, I'm not saying what I do is professional. Like I know when I cut and paste things and I put things together, it's meant to kind of look like that. But here it's like they're trying to invite you into this scene, into this world, and it's just not working for me because it seems too cut and paste, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the Bohemian Gothic, and I may not be keeping this deck. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Anyway, one more deck to go. So this is the R Black Tarot. I have been wanting this deck for a long time. Finally found it on eBay. And this, along with the Liminal Tarot, are the two decks that I've been waiting a very, very long time to have in my possession. I'm not a huge fan of the super sharp corners, so I think I am going to make like a test card that's the same size as this, and then use my corner puncher to make sure that it's not going to cut into the image too much. But I love this deck. It is a more minimal deck, but the images to me speak so loudly. I just think it's really beautiful and very scaled back, very pared back, but it says so much, right? So here's the Three of Cups here, where I was talking about it in the Mind's Eye Tarot. They don't look like they're celebrating anything, but here they have this huge bonfire and there's three people together with their arms raised. This to me feels far more like a celebration than three women staring into your soul in the Three of Cups in that in that other deck. Do you know what I mean? So I guess that's sort of the difference. And that other card, it's so busy, there's so much going on, but it's not saying much. Whereas this, the color palette is extremely scaled back, but the images convey so much. And that's what I love. That's what I love. And the color palette that was picked is beautiful and really flows nicely together. And all the suits are done in the same colors. So all the wands are red, I believe the pentacles are yellow, the swords are blue, and the cups are blue, but they're different shades of blue. And then the majors have a little bit of different color scheme coming in. But it's such a, and like this, like it's such a simple, minimal image, but it speaks so much, right? And there's so many different places you can be looking at. You can be looking at the barren desert. You can be looking at this little lizard hanging out under this one leaf that he found within this barren desert. I mean, there's so many different ways to read strength into this card, in my opinion. And I love that. Look at that hermit. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. I love this death card too. I don't know if you can see it. There's a guy on a boat, or a person on a boat rowing away within the death's head moth. Temperance. I don't know. This deck just makes me happy. And it's very clearly a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but this is like, it's so nice to see the artist interpret it in their own way. And that's sort of like, there's intention behind this deck. Whereas the Mind's Eye Tarot, it doesn't feel like there was much intention behind it other than to make a tarot deck. This, every image was created to relay an idea. And that's the kind of deck. This is the kind of deck that I personally am more drawn to these days. So that is what I have. As soon as I get my other decks in, I'll do those last videos, and hopefully I'll get to my other videos that I've been wanting to make but haven't soon. I am going on vacation on the 16th, and then I'll be back and hopefully making more videos. But if I don't make more videos before then, because the holidays are always crazy in my house, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. And I can't wait to be back here making more videos and talking tarot, and I'll be watching y'all in the meantime. Cheers.